I'm not a doctor nor a scientist. I'm recounting ancient works and modern research and forming my own perspectives. There is a vital source of energy permeating your very being. It powers the processes and functions of your organism. An electrical energy charge that courses through your veins, through every cell of your body, breathing life into you. A battery. It powers the nervous system to send electrical signals through the body and to the brain, allowing us to think and carry out physical movement and function. The strength of electrical charge is very much connected to your vitality and life force. Sexuality, if it be denied the reproductive expression and provided that it also be kept from artificial excitation, seems to develop a sort of dynamic force or energy which the nutritive, the motor, and the relational departments can use to their individual and collective advantage. On the other hand, those who unnaturally or excessively expend along sexual lines what may seem to them to be exclusively sexual energy, available only for sexual expression, thereby deprive the system at large of what might have been general stimulation and vitality. Indeed, the sexual department of a continent adult seems to be a sort of storage battery of vitality, a veritable reservoir for surplus energy. This energy, which seems so like a tremendous dynamic force, may be expended just as each individual shall elect. It may be wasted in lustful and abnormal sensuality, or it may be used partly for the legitimate purposes of reproduction and the remainder in lustful practices, or it may be expended in exalting and intensifying the nutritive, the muscular, and the mental life. This remarkable fact is of great practical importance. The retainer of sexual energy frees up available resources for all the other competing processes and functions occurring within the body. The more available bioenergy there is to utilize, the better the bodily systems can carry out those functions and processes, resulting in less oxidative stress and higher maintenance of cell integrity. In the great battery of human life, man usually is the primary or positive pole, woman the negative or receptive. The one gives, the other receives. The connection of the one with the other opens a circuit through which the electric forces of the universe flow into both. But in order to construct a perfect battery, the natures of the husband and wife should be attuned to harmony, should be unweakened by abuses. In a word, each should be keyed to harmonious vibrations with the other. Where the conditions are such as these, a store of life energy is gathered in the body, which throws out all worn-out atoms, sends new life into those that are exhausted, revivifies the brain cells and thus provides a more efficient instrument for mental work, and generates a store of personal magnetism which inevitably draws to the individual the esteem of the people he deals with, as well as every good thing in the universe. This is the regenerative effect of the sex function, rightly, intelligently, and purely exercised. The elements in our bodies, like sodium, potassium, calcium, and magnesium, have a specific electrical charge. Almost all of our cells can use these charged elements, called ions, to generate electricity. These elements, along with more relating to bioelectric energy conduction, are also found in the semen and prostate. One element of particular importance that is found in abundance in the semen and prostate is zinc. According to studies in the 1950s, the content level of zinc found in the human prostate gland was more than that contained in the liver, muscle, brain, testes, or blood. By no stretch of the imagination could we consider these zinc levels to be insignificant. Another vital constituent is phosphorus. In the ejaculation of the normal man, about 226 million spermatozoa are given off. These are rich in phosphorized fats, lecithin, cholesterol, the parent source of sex hormones, nuclear proteins, and iron. Dr. Evans, an English physiologist, has presented the interesting idea that thinking is merely a phase of phosphorus metabolism in the brain, which recalls the saying of German biochemists, "Without phosphorus, no thought." Evans states that during thinking and mental exertion, phosphates are increased in the excreta, and he therefore concludes that thinking involves an oxidization of phosphorus compounds in the brain, under the catalytic influence of the iodine of the thyroid hormone. Evans says if we take a fresh brain, either human or animal, and immerse it in either absolute alcohol, sulfuric ether, or olive oil, we obtain a luminous solution of phosphorus. This may be the origin of the phosphorescent brain glow, observed by Dr. G.W. Cryle, as given off by the living brain in a dark room. In this oxidization of phosphorus in the brain, Evans sees the origin of the generation of electric nerve currents, for the oxidization of phosphorus in the atmosphere causes an electric discharge to be given off. Cryle has shown that the electrical energy of the nervous system is generated in the brain, which represents a central storage battery of the body. It is thus clear that phosphorus, oxygen, and sufficient thyroid hormone, iodine, are all necessary for the normal generation of brain electricity, and that in the absence of either of these three elements, there will be deficient brain action. For it is well known that the brain is richer in phosphorus than any other part of the body, and also uses up oxygen 3 times as rapidly as other tissues. Also, without the catalytic influence of the thyroid hormone, it cannot function normally, or without iodine, on which element the thyroid depends for the manufacture of its secretion. The body is powered by electricity. An electric field is endogenous when the electricity generated is not coming from an external source, but is being generated internally from the firing of the cells. This electrical activity influences the behavior of the surrounding network of cells. Essentially, every organ and cell in our bodies uses electric voltage differences and ionic currents in the performance of critical daily functions. Every cell generates a voltage of roughly 70 MV across its outer membrane that is used for a variety of signaling and transport functions. For example, our retinal rod cells drive a relatively steady dark current into the outer segment and out of the inner segment. Even our cellular energy levels depend on voltage. All of our cells make their universal energy currency, ATP, in large part by generating a 200 MV potential difference across the mitochondrial inner membrane. This theme continues in multicellular organs. Many organ functions are coordinated with electrical signals, such as the wave of depolarization that sweeps over the heart to trigger a synchronous contraction to pump blood efficiently. Abnormalities in this electrical signal can lead to fibrillation and heart attacks. The voltages generated by the contracting heart are so large that they can be easily detected at the surface of the body, and this signal, called the electrocardiogram or EKG, is routinely used to diagnose heart disease. With this abundant use of electrical signals in cellular and organ function, it should not be a surprise that endogenous electric fields are also important for normal development, regeneration, and wound healing. This electrical force that permeates the body has been written about in various contexts, from modern to ancient texts spanning back thousands of years. Many have even made claim to humanity's ancient structures as having been built precisely for the purpose of harnessing electromagnetic energy. A bird's-eye view of these structures is comparable to wires and capacitors on a circuit board. It appears that many of the regenerative processes and functions that occur within the cell structures of the body are powered by these endogenous fields of electricity circulating within our organism. We are the walking storehouses of electrical energy with regenerative abilities to keep us alive and in this realm of existence. We may, as a human race, be all-powering something much bigger than us. something that lies beyond the limits of our own perception. It has been established that in stallions, the available bioelectricity in the body, known as ATP, is required for the maintenance of membrane integrity in the spermatozoa. In simpler terms, bioelectric energy is required to keep and maintain the survival and integrity of the sperm. It is very reasonable to assume that similar such mechanisms would also apply to the human spermatozoa, that we would require electrical resources to create, power, and maintain the sperm. Assuming this to be true, then it would seem likely that the continual expulsion and necessary replacement of new stock may come at a biological price. The insufficient availability of this energy, aka ATP, has been known to cause oxidative stress via mitochondrial dysfunction. It seems, at least from my own perspective, that the constant loss of seminal fluids will require constant replenishment of said fluids and may not be conducive to optimal mitochondrial health. Furthermore, such a process could thus induce oxidative stress and accelerate the aging process prematurely. That the expenditure of life force comes at a cost to the organism should be of no surprise. It is an immutable law of nature and a widely recognized concept in biology. Since energy devoted to reproduction is not available for growth and maintenance, reproduction itself has a cost in terms of increased mortality or decreased growth of the adult organism. Thus, an individual that reproduces in a given year often has reduced survivorship and/or may reproduce at a lower rate in the near future. Therefore, an organism may have greater evolutionary fitness over the long term if it postpones reproduction or limits the allocation of energy to current reproduction. The gift of life has afforded every being a finite source of energy that can be used in any way they see fit. We can spend much of this energy on the activity of reproduction, or we can invest this energy back into ourselves for the purposes of regeneration. The more bioenergy available, the more efficiently our cells can function and the less fatigue and oxidative stress we will experience in the long run. From nature's perspective, it seems the purpose of our existence is for procreation. Yet from an individual's perspective, perhaps this isn't always the case. For many, health and longevity may be of higher priority than procreation. There are no rules here. One must decide for themselves what values they seek to live by and how they wish to live. As we become attuned to our own source of energy, we become capable of allocating that energy to the areas of our life that are important. This is why semen retention for many is so important. It allows us to redirect these sexual energies and make them available to other parts of our body and life that require this energy for optimal function. It allows for more maintenance, more regeneration, and ultimately, more life.